Hi everyone, it's Dion with the Turquoise Iris, and I'm starting a new piece of furniture today. And I thought we might start with a little tutorial today where I kind of start with a base piece, and I'll do a little bit at a time and do a little bit of clips here, but let's get started. And today I'm using the DIY paint from Debbie's Design Diary. I have some of my favorite colors, and then I'm taking two of them and creating my own to make a third color that I can use for blending. So the first color I'm starting with is Hey Sailor. I mean, it's just a cute name. Not only is Debbie's packaging, like, look at this package. You see this? I mean, she had me a little turquoise truck, right? She had me. So a Hey Sailor, then I'm grabbing the letterpress gray, okay? And so then I'm actually mixing them half and half to create my own color. And the reason I'm doing this is because I'm going to use all three colors, but if I take two of my favorites and mix them, I'm going to have a third color that's a half and half of both. And then I actually went ahead and put in the mint. What did I do with it? I think it's called mint chip. Anyway, I went and put a little bit of that in here too because I wanted it to have, well, I really wanted it a little bit lighter, but I didn't want it more gray and I didn't want it more blue, but I wanted it a little bit lighter. So then I added, so I have taken three colors to make this one. I'm going to use this one as my base all over the piece, and then I'm going to use the gray and the blue, the Hey Sailor, as accent colors. So I'll have three total, but I'm going to blend them and shade them to give this piece a layered with a little bit of texture, and we'll see how it goes. I haven't done this before. I haven't used this color combination before. I'm not really sure how it's going to look, but we're going to go with it, and if I need to paint over it, then that is what I will do. So I'm going to stop the video here and I'm going to paint a little bit, and then we'll start it back up when I get a little bit of it on there for you. Okay, we'll talk soon. Okay, so what I've done is I've taken the color that I mixed myself using the letterpress gray and the Hey Sailor and a little bit of the mint. I mixed them equal parts, and I just put a base coat on this. It's still drying. I'm going to do the before and after. I'm only going to do this one section and give you an idea of what I'm working on. Okay, so one coat, and all I did was brush it on real quick while it's wet. That's the key, guys, while it's wet. I am also going to grab the Hey Sailor. I'm not planning this out. I'm going through this in my mind as I'm recording this, okay? I didn't necessarily have a plan, and I came out here thinking I was going to actually paint this pink. Yeah. There's a pink petticoat pink color that the DIY paint offers, which I think is gorgeous, but I decided, actually I saw a picture on Pinterest, and it was of a wall color with the trim and the wall, of like the wood trim around the room was this, I don't know, this gorgeous color. I'm trying to recreate it. It was actually the color of the room, and I'm trying to recreate this look on a piece of furniture. So that's what I'm working on. And everything is wet, and so while this is still wet with the first color, I'm blending it a little bit. I'm not being perfect, as you guys can see. I am just getting it on there. You guys see okay? I'm not trying to cover up all of the first layer. I like it, and I'm not trying to cover it up. I took equal parts, basically. I didn't measure, you guys. I just eyeballed it because I don't usually measure anything. Hey Sailor, as well as the letterpress gray, and I combined them to get this base color that I'm working with. Then the color that I'm adding while everything's wet right now is the Hey Sailor. Okay? So I'm just doing it sparingly. I know it looks like it's wet, but I'm actually putting the darker color on it right now. Okay, we're gonna let that sit for a minute. I'll be right back. This is the letterpress gray. Guys, all the while I'm using the exact same brush. I'm not switching out my brushes. I'm doing a little bit of the letterpress right over it. I'm doing all of this in sections while I'm keeping the paint wet. It's not dried yet, and so I am literally just going through here and blending all three of these colors. I want a layered look. Guys, I do not want this piece of furniture to look like it just came off the showroom floor. I want this to look like a piece of furniture that you could have picked up in any country that has weathered a storm or two or three. I want it to look like it's important. I want it to look like, hey, keep me around because I'm important and I got a lot of things to say. I make a statement. So I am just adding the letterpress, and in just a second I'm going to get out my handy dandy spray bottle. So you just want to hang tight with me. I have no plan. There's no rhyme or reason behind why I'm doing what I'm doing, except that I'm using 3 different colors. The first one is one that I made by mixing letterpress gray and sailor blue from Debbie's Design Diary DIY paint. Not because she doesn't have color. So the very next thing we're going to do is I've got all 3 colors on here. They're blended real well. You can see that some of it's starting to dry, but I'm going to add a little handy dandy water bottle. There's no paint in here like sometimes I have. I'll dilute some paint in here, but this is just clear, just clean fresh water. It's not Windex, I promise. See how to H2O, I remind myself. So I'm going to spray it on here. And this is going to soften everything. There's a few areas I'm going to put it a little heavier. You will not be able to tell necessarily where my colors are lighter and darker, but once this dries, probably in a couple of hours, I'll pick the video back up, and then I'm going to sand it, and then I'm going to cover it in a black wax. So I'm just doing this section right here so we can work on this part of the tutorial right now. So I'll get you back on here when this dries. Okay, so we've got it dry. As you can see, hopefully you can see in this video, there's a little bit of gray here. There's the darker, there's the shading. This is not done by wax, you guys. This is me using 3 different colors. So it's completely dry now. I am going to do a little bit of sanding. You guys know this makes like the biggest mess. I'm going to let some more of the base color come through, and then I'm thinking of using a black wax. I really wanted it darker. I don't want a bright blue. I'm really wanting something kind of soft and a moody blue with the black wax, also from the DIY paint collection. I may just kind of do this in a few sections. I bet you guys, but sanding, it's the worst part. And yes, I should probably have on gloves. But since I've taken up nail painting, I don't do my nails. And you can always find me at a ball game with paint on my clothes and or my legs or under my fingernails. Probably should have had something a little more coarse. Okay, so right now I'm just going to work on this area right here. I'm going to make it come a little bit closer. So I lightly distressed it. You can see a little bit here. Okay, just a little bit here. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to wipe all that off, all of that powder. And I'm gonna start with the black wax. Again, guys, I always work in sections. It's the best way to keep, to keep the colors blended really nicely, you really need to work in sections, because if you were to paint this entire piece, which normally, I mean, you can paint the entire piece if you're just doing your base coat. Oops, sorry, video. This little deal that I have the camera on is on rollers. Trying to get something here, I'm sorry. Okay. Wanted to get this done before my lighting went away. So I'm getting a little bit of the black wax that's also from the DIY paint line by Debbie's Design Diary. And this may be bad, but I'm going to go ahead and put a little bit of black on here. I really wanted something darker. I did not want a bright blue. And hopefully won't have to sand all of this back off. I know it looks black from here, guys, but it is not black in the camera. Like in person, it's not black. It's like navy, and it's just really pretty. It's really pretty. So I probably will not use the wax like heavily in every section. I'll probably do more shading. Perfect. Let me do a little bit more and we'll be right back. Okay, and then so you can see the lighter, and then I went back after it dried and sanded it in a little bit in some areas, nothing too heavy. And this piece is really worn and weathered anyway. I didn't really need a whole lot of the wood grain showing through. But then after I wiped all the, the sand particles, the powder, basically, it's like the smallest powder that would be under my fingernails forever. Wiped that down, not wet. Okay, then I used the water, so my colors started blending. All of them started blending together. Use a little brush here, add a little dark here. I knew that I wanted like this section to be darker. Oh, I love this right here. I love this. So after it, okay, wait. I got that backwards. I need to wet before I sand. That's what I did. I wet before I sanded. Hello. So I got that backwards. So while all your paint's wet, you're watering it. Then once that's dry, you're going to sand. Just in the areas, your natural occurring areas are going to be on your edges, where your handle is, down at the bottom, down here, this area right here. Okay, and then once I was completely finished with that and it was dry, I added this black wax, which was also from Debbie Design Diary, her DIY wax. I love it. It's soft. I mean, she puts on here her ingredients. Love is the #1 ingredient. Beeswax. It's awesome. So I brushed that on sparingly. Brush it on, wiped it back off. Then I got my sanding block again and went back over it. Okay, I went back over the wax. Went all the way around it, just in areas, and voila! I have like a denim finish. I haven't done this color combination before. This is my first time, and I love it. I love it. Guys, I hope you enjoyed this as well. This is my first little DIY tutorial. Please don't be too critical, but I hope that you learned something from this. And maybe the next one that I do will be even more thorough, and I could maybe even leave it on the entire time I'm painting. But I didn't want you to get bored. I needed it short, sweet, and precise. So if you enjoyed this, give me a shout out. I would appreciate it. And like I said, I hope you learned something. And so happy painting, you guys, and take care.